to get this end cleaned up and get this bore the proper diameter for the tap, what I've got is I've got a angle block, and I've got a V block, and I'm using the surface of the drill press as a flat surface, and I'm going to place the rod end as such, and then I'm going to take a C-clamp. Let me move this real quick here. And we are going to clamp this all together. Now, what that should mean is that now we've got a rod end that is perfectly vertical in this direction, and also in the other as well. Now, this is not a super safe setup because we are pushing down, and we could push this block over, but we're removing so little material that if we're cautious, that we should be safe here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and drill that bore out, and it's just going to relieve a sliver of material. We're going to hold on to this assembly here, and then when we're done, I'll show you how we make sure we get the tap lined up straight. So let's take a look at this process. Now, with this all the way down, what we want to do is clamp this block to the table, and that'll keep the quill lined up with that tubing. Okay, so as you can see, that drill press that bit runs freely down through that bore. We're all clamped together. This is a 11/16 inch bit, by the way, which is tap drill size for 3/4 16. So now let me go get the tap. So what we've got is just a regular 3/4 16 plug tap. Use a little tap magic. Whoop. Sorry about that. And we'll use the tap follower that I installed in the chuck to come down and keep us lined up and get started. Now, this is only going to get us started. This setup is not rigid enough to tap this. In fact, not only when I start torquing on this will this block come loose, but this C-clamp isn't rigid enough either. So what I'm simply going to do is get the tap started until it's straight, and we know that it's going to continue straight. See there? Now we're still in place. This clamp slipped this way, but the rod end is still in the center of that V-block, and that V-block didn't move. So we're not out of position at this stage. Okay. Now we're turning in the V-block. So I'm going to go ahead and pull all this out, and we'll go over to the bench where we can get a better clamp on this rod end and finish tapping this thing out. Back at the vise, clamped in a set of aluminum soft jaws, which won't save the powder coated material in there, but really should be expected that wasn't going to make the end of the project. So just a matter of getting her tapped out. Okay, so we have a visitor to the shop. Can you say hi, Isabella?
Mommy!
What's wrong? You don't want to be on camera?
God, I'm the camera.
Let me get Chuck.
No!
Come on, Chuck.
Chuck! Chuck!
You gonna play with Chuck?
Yeah. Can you play my
It's okay with your mom.
Mom, can Chuck play all y'all? God says okay. Chuck plays in all y'all, can she? Yeah.
Okay, come on, Chuck.
Come on, Chuck. No.
Chuck, come on, right here. Chuck,
Chuck.
come on.
No.
Come on. Go. Nope, nope, stop, stop. Come on, this way.
This way.
Come on, Chuck.
Come on, Chuck. I'm here. No, I'm here. Where am I playing? Come on.
Okay, sorry for the interruption, but we're all done. We're all done tapping. So I'll finish cleaning that out, and I'll meet you over at the disc sander, and I'll show you what we're going to do to straighten up this this outer piece. Okay, so what we're going to do to just make sure this end is flat where that jam nut's going to rest is we're going to use this V-block, and we're going to set the tube section of this rod end in it, and then we're just going to run it up against the face of that. And when we get close, now we're not gonna put a lot of force on here. We're not going to remove a lot of material. We're just going to flatten that out. And then when we're done with that, we're going to go ahead and just run it in an angle, put a little chamfer on it. So let's see what that looks like. So there you have it. There's what they look like after they've been assembled. Now, what you didn't see off camera was I don't have a tool to chamfer the inside of that thread that's large enough. So what I did was took a little carbide burr on a die grinder and just gently put a little chamfer on the inside of that so that those threads would start easily. So the only thing left is to go ahead and finish welding everything out and do the upper shock mount. So let's do the upper shock mount. Let's take a look at that.